Welcome. This is MoneyHeart, where we explore the emotional side of money. I'm Camille Diaz, and today we're discussing overcoming anxiety. My guest is Joy Seale. She's the owner of Joy Books, a virtual bookkeeping company. She's a free spirit and creative at heart. Also, numbers have always made sense to her. Rarely do you get those two things in one person. She believes that relationships are what drives us, whether that's business or personal life. She understands that money is a tool to help us live the life we want to live. Joy, welcome to Money Heart.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Today we're discussing overcoming anxiety. Will you share how anxiety presents for you?
Sure. Anxiety is not fun. We'll just start off with that.
Okay.
I know it's going to be a really big surprise to everyone. But how it kind of presents for me on a day-to-day basis is sometimes it's really hard to get out of bed, like to the point where it's like, okay, this morning I'm going to spend a little bit extra time in bed, or maybe it hits in the afternoon. So that means that I might need to cancel some stuff and kind of be in tune with my brain, which can be very frustrating when you're trying to have a normal day, trying to run a business, trying to get literally anything done. But yeah, that's kind of how it presents. A lot of racing thoughts. I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but a lot of doubt and a lot of second guessing and a lot of internal dialogue that's not always great. So yeah, that's how it presents on a day-to-day basis.
Right. And so just to be really clear, this is, something where some people think, well, why don't you just calm down? Well, maybe you could just relax, but that's not how anxiety works, right?
Correct. I think there's this misconception that it's a little bit of a choice, or like, oh, you're in bed, you can just get up and get out, like get out of bed and start your day. Like, anxiety in no way in shape or form is a choice. Like, I would not wish this on literally anyone in the world. Sometimes for those who take meds, like sometimes just getting up to take your med is a feat of strength. So yeah, it's definitely a feat of strength. It's not like, oh, I can just get out of bed or I can go do this thing. It's when someone's having anxiety and they end up getting up and moving forward, like that's a testament to who they are. And some days it works out that way and some days it doesn't, and both are okay. You have to take care of your mental health.
Right. So how has this played out for you personally as far as money goes, since we do a lot of money stuff here?
Right. For me, I am very much a saver, and that kind of helps my brain, because I go through every scenario, doesn't matter how ridiculous it might seem, about, okay, like what will I need to do? And some of them are kind of dark. Like, I don't always share them with people because they're like, that's a little weird.
But that's a thing with anxiety, though, right? You tend to run to the worst possible conclusion and all possible scenarios, and who knows what disaster isn't that kind of just what your brain does?
Yes. Like, I will give a small example. So my husband, if he doesn't get home by the time that he thinks he gets home, my first thought isn't like, oh, he got caught up. It's generally, well, like, oh, he got in an accident. Like, technically that is a possibility, but probably not the most likely of scenarios.
Right.
So kind of like just planning, okay, like if that happened, what would we do? What would, like, does he need to go to the hospital? What about the bills? What about, and this whole laundry list of things, of scenarios and what would happen. And it's just a way for my brain to be like, okay, we're going to prepare of what's going to happen. So it's great.
So you're just really over prepared for like everything.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't like to be surprised in that way.
Yes. So how has this affected your business? Because you're not just doing your personal money stuff, but you're running a business as well. How does this play in? Because I figure, sometimes you have appointments or whatever, and you might not be able to choose to not meet.
Right. Well, I kind of set up a process for myself. So for one thing, I have a maximum of appointments I take a day. It doesn't matter if the day is going super well or not so great. Like I have that minimum, and whatever that minimum is, once that day has hit that, it's like, okay, I no longer schedule anything else for that day.
Mm-hmm.
I generally schedule them certain times of the day because I know my brain works better certain times during the day.
Yep.
I also drink a lot of water, move my body. I try to eat things that I know will serve my body to make sure that I'm doing everything that I can. Kind of on the flip side, some days you do everything correct and it's just not going the way that you necessarily planned. Right. So I have had in the past emailed or called really quickly, like, I'm so sorry, I need to cancel. Can we schedule for a different day? I don't tell why. That's just how I do it. That's just how I do it because I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's everybody's business all the time to know everything. Right. But yeah, like you can do all the right things, and sometimes it's not going to happen. And having grace with yourself, because I've been doing bookkeeping for over 3 years, and there are times when I'm like, ugh, I should be farther along. I should have X, Y, and Z accomplished. I need to have this. It's like taking a step back and just saying, hey, this is where I am. I'm proud of what I've done. Do I want to be further along? Yes. Right. But I'm making actionable steps to do that. So just keep pushing forward is the main takeaway from that. It doesn't matter the time frame, but as long as you're slowly inching forward, that's what matters.
Right. I love that. I think that's a great takeaway for many things, because it seems that nothing ever goes quite as fast as you want it to.
Sure.
Whether you're dealing with anxiety or not, like your business progress and other progress, it just isn't. It's rarely as fast as we all would like it to be, because yesterday would have been nice.
Well, of course, I wanted all that money, 10 years ago.
Yeah, obviously. So what are kind of the best ways, I guess, to approach anxiety, or just to, if you want to share a couple other systems or things that you have in place that help you, either personal or business, either one?
Sure. I surround myself with people who understand. They may not understand anxiety, but having the people in your life that you can be like, hey, I need to move this. I need to do X. And them having the grace with you of being like, okay, I understand, not a problem, that type of thing. The people that are like, ugh, I cannot believe, like, this is the worst. You were like, well, A, you don't want those people in your life anyway. But,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, having those people that will have grace with you, because in turn, they're not always going to have the best day in the world. Not everyone has a great day every day. So
does anyone have a great day every day? There's probably a few people. I'm not sure I know them.
And then hang around them and see what they got going on. But yeah, having those people in your life, and then not taking crap from the people who do give you a hard time. And if you find those people, kind of weeding them out.
Right. Yes.
Because your mental health is just as important as your physical health. So
yeah. That's a really good point. I don't think that we always remember that. Everybody knows, well, I should, drink water and go to the gym and eat my fruits and veggies. But we sometimes skip that piece of I need a mental break, or I need to talk to somebody about what's going on because I can't turn my brain off, or just all of these things mental health wise that we maybe don't consider or don't talk about or don't think of.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think everyone should be in therapy. I don't care if things are going well, things are going poorly, if they're mediocre. Like, there's always a reason, because like, you have that outside perspective to see what's going on in your life, because you're the one that's living your life, so there are things you're not going to see. And if you think you're going to see everything, I love you, but you're wrong. So yeah, I huge advocate of therapy. I think it's fantastic. Oh, and it's also really important to find the right therapist. And not just because you go to your first therapist and you're like, I don't think I like this person. It's totally okay to be like, thank you for your time. I don't think this is a good fit. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be sharing some very deep things, maybe not at the beginning, but hopefully eventually, and you want to feel comfortable with that person.
Right.
Yeah, find the right person. It's almost like finding a new partner, a new best friend a little bit. You're like, okay, we need to jive. They need to understand me as a person. So that can take time.
Yeah. Excellent idea to not be afraid to say, well, I know this person's a professional and I know they know what they're doing, but we're not meshing. Like, this is just not a fit. I need to look for another person. So you can find somebody who works. Yeah. And can we just start therapy in high school, like as one of the classes?
Yes. Get it normalized. Gosh.
Yeah. Just everybody has to take therapy for like third period therapy. Like, let's just do that.
Junior high and high school, you definitely need therapy. A lot's going on, like in your body, in your mind.
Yeah.
Future.
Yeah. At home, everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just okay. So that everybody has therapy every single day, or at least a couple times a week, and it's just you have to go. They make you go, even if you don't want to go. Just go, so you get used to it. It's not weird, and that way later on as an adult, you'd be like, oh gosh, I'm having a hard time. I should go to therapy. Got it.
Yes. Yep.
Yes, that would be awesome. I would like that. You had a few things you wanted to share about people with anxiety. What were those 3 things?
Yes. So as I mentioned, anxiety, it's kind of the worst, but it can have some, dare I say, benefits, which is not always.
It's hard to everything. There's always a balance. Yeah.
Sure, but sometimes it's just my own thing, I guess.
Well, it's sometimes we focus on the negative aspects of something and forget to find the benefits of that thing.
Yeah.
So if you found some, that's wonderful.
Yes, I guess reasons of why people with anxiety are assets. I think a lot of times they're viewed as like, oh, maybe we shouldn't hire them, maybe they're not reliable or whatever. But these are 3 things that I think are assets of people that have anxiety. 1, they're fighters. Like, getting out of bed, like, people who don't have anxiety, like, that's not an issue for them. So happy for them. But like, we go through panic attacks, we go through racing thoughts, like, we keep fighting and we keep on getting back up. So like, we are fighters and like, we don't quit. Like, that's just our life.
Right? Yeah.
Awesome. Second, we generally have a large emotional depth because we feel things generally pretty deeply. Granted, all of these things are generalizations, but we feel them really deeply. So we generally sense when others are in pain. And then also want to help because we understand, we know that pain.
Right.
And then lastly, we're generally pretty forgiving. When someone is having a bad day or is they're snappy, whatever, we're generally like, okay, like, we understand that some days you kind of act like a jerk you don't mean it. It just kind of happens. So we're a little bit more apt to be like, okay, maybe they're just having a bad day. We're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. So yeah, those are three things that are assets of people that have anxiety, and are strengths that may or may not have happened otherwise.
I love it. I love that. Finding the positive in something that is often looked at as only negative. So
Yeah.
I think that's great. If we have a business partner or a life partner who has anxiety, what can the rest of us do to kind of help out, be more supportive, not be a jerk? What can we do?
Talk to them. It's very novel. And ask them. I think that's the biggest thing, is just because someone has anxiety doesn't mean it's a blanket, this is what you should do. Talk to them, ask them what they need, because something that might be very, very helpful for me might not be as helpful for somebody else.
Right.
So just asking, like, hey, what can we do? How can we help you? Yeah, just opening that dialogue, and it doesn't matter what they say, just being open, and just describing anxiety and like what you're feeling sometimes is very hard. That's something that my husband and I are still like going through, and I'm trying to describe exactly how it feels because he doesn't have anxiety. So just describing it sometimes is kind of hard. So learning to ask questions and having grace is probably just a really big one. It's like, this isn't something that we want. Like, we're not trying to be anything but who we are, and it just is what it is. So
not being difficult, not on purpose. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. It's not fun for us.
Right. Yeah. I think it's a really good reminder. And, people struggle with all different things. And it's not that they're trying to make life harder. It's just the way things are. And they're trying to figure it out. So I love that. And the concept of having grace in whatever the situation is. Always good. This has been awesome. Thank you so much, Joy. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. If you'd like to get in contact with Joy, you can email her, joy@joybooks.org. Thank you as well to our listeners and viewers. I'm your host, Camille Diaz. This show is sponsored by Serenity Financial, a Five Rings financial agency specializing in financial education, living benefits, and guaranteed lifetime income. Be sure to follow MoneyHeart on social media at MoneyHeart Show and on our website, moneyheartshow.com. Today's money mantra provided by Joy, since she is a bookkeeper. She says, I know where my money is going.